This is a story about a magical place where everything's amazing, especially the people. We can tell you everything there is to know about over 400,000 different pieces of gear. Tell them, Lenny.
We have a 17 millimeter, 24 millimeter, 45 millimeter.
He does this all day. We'll help you find the right thing, which is often not the most expensive.
The A9 is great, but I think the 6500 is better for what you need.
That's pretty rare.
All right, I'm also going to I think were there new cases in Spain while I was away? Is that worth? Yeah, here it is. So Spain, during my break, Spain reported 8 new cases of coronavirus, or 26 new cases so far today. So 26 new cases. It's gone from 58 to 84 in Spain today. So another country reporting large numbers of new cases. At least 5 in critical condition. And yeah, let's look up and see if we can find some more about some of these cases. How about El País? Do they have the information about the new cases? Let's see. I don't see much here. That's not looking promising. You have to try a different publication. How about El Mundo? It's funny, you look at El Mundo, the top story is the soccer story. I also noticed they were playing soccer today, and lots of people were crowded into stadiums. So I don't know if there was any thought to like not having those games. But I mean, on the one hand, you have all these new cases in Spain. On the other hand, you have people crowding into soccer stadiums for games. Oh, a dozen of the infections in Spain have no known origin. A dozen of the 83 infections in Spain have no known origin. That's not good. That suggests it might be spreading around in the community. Let's see here. Okay, the data, cases in 13 autonomous communities, 4 new cases in the Basque Country, 16-year-old girl among the cases of Catalonia. So more cases there. Then we also heard about Armenia as well. There's an Armenia story. Hang on one sec. Oh, then also another school story. This was posted by COVID-19. 2 students at Palo Alto schools in Santa Clara County, where they have some cases of this. 2 students at Palo Alto schools were sent home Friday afternoon after district officials learned they might have been exposed through a parent. You know, there are 2 cases. There are a couple of cases at least in Santa Clara County, which is where this is. But
We're so fucked.
If you can show me the grave site of anybody mentioned in the Bible. Not, see, I told him about Jesus there. Well, you ain't going to find Jesus there because he got up. Okay. Let's do anybody. If you can show me, take me to the grave site of one person mentioned in the Bible, I will pay all your living expenses to the day I die. I've been putting that challenge out over the internet, over the world for years, because they never existed. We're talking allegorical people. No. Never existed. See, when everybody repeat after me. Say it this way. When you don't have a past, you must create myth to supplement the facts of your existence. See, the whole Africans did not create Jesus. Europeans created Jesus. We didn't need to create Jesus. Now I'm going to tell you, I'm trying to end this. Why do black people need Jesus today? And I'm going to finish with this. Why do black people need Jesus today? I'm going to tell you why. Because we've been taught that we're sinners. And we were taught that he paid the price for sin. Got me? So instead of doing ma'at, okay, and listening to the Spirit pricking us in our conscience, and when we do that which we know we shouldn't and making it right, we've been taught you don't even have to do that no more. Whatever you did wrong, it's all right. All you got to do is exercise faith in our fabricated Savior, and everything is okay. You've been justified. Justified means you've been declared not guilty of whatever wrong you've done. I'll never forget when Eddie Long actually got up and said, I am who God says I am. God says I'm justified. See, that's the program that got us messed up. Because as a result of that mentality, we have pedophiles, pedophilia. I'm not going to start naming all the vices. You can do it on your own. Okay? And people feel that all they got to do is just confess their sins and everything is okay. That's not African. That is not our way. That is not our way. And because we've been appropriating that in our lives, we done became jacked up. Show me, take me to the grave site of one person mentioned in the Bible. I will pay all your living expenses to the day I die. somebody read what you see on the screen for me? Space inside this circle represents my realm of knowledge. All that I think I know about whatever I think I know is depicted right here within this circle. I must keep in mind that there's more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness. Did y'all grab that? Yes. I start all of my lectures off with this. And the reason why I do that, brothers and sisters, is simply because I am a teacher. Did y'all hear what I said? Yes. Now, what does that mean? That means that when I stand up to talk, I am going to say something that you don't already know. Because if I only say what you already know, then I'm not teaching you anything. Got me? Now the problem is, we have all been programmed to immediately reject what we hear that is not inside our circle of awareness. You follow what I'm saying? So, reason for this, because I know I'm going to say some stuff, and when I get ready to say something that I know is outside of your circumference of awareness, I'm going to say, hold that circle up, hold that circle up, all right, so it kind of prepares you for what I'm about to say that you don't like there is no Jesus. You see what I'm saying? See? Okay? And I know it's a little hard to digest, but as we get through this today, I hope you'll understand a little bit better. Moving on, why do I stand up and do what I do? Why? The whole reason why I get out the bed every day, the whole reason why I go on the air and talk to people all over the world every day, it's my life, is so that I can begin the process of undoing or reversing ideas and concepts that have been what? Programmed, that's an important word. Programmed into the minds of our people by what? The religious statements and what else? Church doctrines that have caused us to adopt a belief system that is what? Resulted in our loss of contact with what is real, factual, historical, and spiritual. Do y'all grab this? Yes. I want you to understand why Brother Ray is here. Okay, I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to do exactly that. I want to say something today that will really begin the process of undoing the programming. The programming that got us messed up. The programming that literally has disconnected us from reality. Okay? I got an email. I sent out an email blast just a couple of days ago. I was up to about 3 o'clock in the morning writing this thing. A young lady asked me to prove to her. She's been listening to Black Liberation Radio lately. She asked me to prove to her that Jesus never existed, or that Moses never existed. See? And I sent this long email back trying to explain to her it is impossible to prove the non-existence of a thing. Think with me for a moment. If something never existed, how can I prove that it doesn't exist? So I told her, I said, let me reverse the challenge. Prove to me that it did exist. And I will pay all of your living expenses for the rest of your life. You see? That's what we should be. And I asked her, I said, you're asking me to prove to you that there was no Adam, there was no Eve, there was no Noah, you asked me to prove this to you. Did you ask your original teachers who taught you this to prove to you then that they existed? No. The answer is no. I didn't do it. I was raised with a belief system. I was raised in a belief system. And I accepted it, I digested it, without ever verifying the existence of anybody I have been taught about. Can I get a witness? If you would be honest with me, you have to say, well, he is telling the truth. Telling the truth. Telling the truth, because that is right. We didn't proof. And we grew up believing it until somewhere in our psycho paradigm, it has become our reality. It has become our reality. That doesn't mean it's real, though. It simply means it's our reality. Am I making sense so far? Yes. Cool. So what's deep is when you honestly believe that a person raised somebody from the dead, or when you honestly believe that somebody took 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, and fed over 5,000 people. Now, I mean, when you honestly believe that somebody broke God's laws of nature and walked on water. Now, trust me, I am a psychotherapist by profession. Okay? And what we call the manual we use for determining psycho illness. Diagnostic manual, thank you, brother. Okay, in there, there's a code that means if you believe something that is not in the context of fact and reality, you have a mental disorder. For example, if you believe that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you wouldn't even say it alone. If you believe that, as an adult, something's wrong. You follow me? Because that's not with fact, real, and reality is not historical. Okay? Religion has done that to us. It has us believing stuff that's got us messed up as a people. Now y'all see why I have security. Now I know that's funny. Captain will bear witness to what I'm saying. Brother done me for a long time. Preachers are the ones who have threatened me. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Pastors are the ones who have said, we're going to stop you by any means necessary. And the only thing I've asked them to do is invalidate what I've said. I ain't selling drugs, man. I'm not a drug dealer.
But they are.
You're a drug dealer. Right? They're selling a drug called religion.
Right.
See? I'm not messing with nobody's child like some of them are. You see? I'm just trying to tell the truth.
Exactly.
So why do you, National Baptist Convention, want to shut me down? You see? I was on the air one Sunday morning, and Captain radioed up to the radio station for him to come down and said, Captain, Chief, I want you to stay up there for a while, because there's somebody down here. We got to deal with this person. I said, well, who is it? He says, there's a man down here waiting to see you. I said, well, is he armed? He said, no. I said, well, I'm coming down then. You know. Because he was under a mandate to stop me. You see? So it's really deep that I have to go through this for religiously. You know?
We've been doing the annual get together to like just relax and have a fun time and
Just hang out, talk, catch up.
yeah.
I was very lucky.
Right, so many questions, nigga. I shall not question the word of the Lord. I shall not question the word of the Lord. just a simple question. I'm just asking shit, man. Oh, I like Ray Higgins because I like him because he was a regular preacher. He was in there with the theology school, and I don't know. As soon as he started studying some shit outside the Bible, he say somebody put him up on that Egyptian, Kemet, Horus, Isis, all that shit. He started studying that shit. He's like, wait a minute. How these Africans got the same story thousands of years before Jesus? He figured out just something ain't right about that shit. And now he teach a different way. Like, I don't think he an atheist. He just don't believe in the Bible stories. He believe in like some kind of higher power. But he's good to listen to. Like I said, because he was on the other side for a long time.
The subject of today's message is a very simple question. Here's the question.
What?
Where did Negroes come from?
How do you? how do they do that to you? You know what? You're gonna get these little motherfuckers killed.
That's the question for today's
Make them wear red.
Now, I hope that y'all don't be
Like,
disappointed if I don't.
That's okay in the school, but that's not really allowed, like, in the neighborhood. I just can't wear red when I want to.
To address this question.
That's crazy. It's getting late and I ain't even cooked dinner yet. Probably be here for like an hour, another hour or so. Then I gotta cook me some dinner.
The subject is asked in the past tense. Where did they come from? But I will try to address this question not only in the past tense, but also in the present tense, which would be, where do Negroes come from? In the war for the liberation, and when I say liberation, brothers and sisters, I mean salvation. Because actually, in the biblical text, the word saved is the Greek word sozo, S-O-Z-O.
That's crazy.
Which means to be liberated, to be made to
I remember
stand
hearing stories like that back in the 90s, bro. Motherfuckers would kill you for your sneakers or your jacket.
Salvation or the liberation of our people.
Your chain.
There's one thing that we must always remember. And that is, we are at war.
We're at war.
Did y'all hear what I said? Repeat it after me. We are at war. When are we at war? Look at the person next to you and say, all the time. Right now. Tonight. Yesterday. Tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning. When you get ready to go to bed tonight. When you get ready to sit down to eat dinner. Remember, we are at war. What does it mean to be at war? A lot of people say that they're at war, but they have no idea of what it means to be at war. To be at war means to be
Fuck
in
y'all whole
a
life up. I'm like, all right, it's
declared
time to sell the property.
or
Let's make some money around
open
here.
with some other entity or someone else. To be at war means to be in a struggle against someone else. To be at war means to have contention between you and someone else. To be at war means to be in opposition to another with the purpose of defeating, destroying, or neutralizing the ability of your opponent to resist your power and control. That's what it means to be at war. And whether y'all realize it or not, there is something working through someone or some people who are at war trying to neutralize you. Trying to neutralize me. Trying to remove from us that which empowers us. Are y'all following me? Now I'm going to drop something on you now about the warfare. The most dangerous person, hear me well. The most dangerous person in a war is the person who is a traitor. Did y'all hear me? The traitor is the most dangerous person in warfare. Why is it? Because a traitor is a person who commits treason. And how do they do that? By violating the trust and faith of his or her own people. This is done by giving aid or assistance to the enemy of your own people. That's what a traitor is. Oh, it's deep, y'all. Because in the process of giving aid or assistance to the enemy of your people, you become an enemy of your own people. Oh, this thing is deep. A traitor is a treacherous person. Let me tell you why they're treacherous. Because a traitor is a person who has the ability of making you think that they're with you. A traitor is a person who has the ability of making you think, making it appear as though they are in support of the program. Oh, shucks. A traitor is one that makes you think that you can count on them. But in reality, traitor is the one who covertly, that's the word we use in military intelligence, who covertly, which means underhandedly, or in secret, they try to subvert the strength and program of the struggle. The most dangerous characteristic about the traitor is that they're sometimes hard to detect. Y'all following me? You see, most people look right at the traitor and don't see him for what they are. You know why? Because the traitor looks like us. The traitor sounds like us. The traitor dresses like us. Traitor sings like us. Traitor gives money like us. Traitor gets happy like us. In fact, y'all, the traitor might even carry a Hosea and a Bible like us. But the traitor has no real interest in learning or in developing themselves or in preparing themselves for the war. Y'all follow me? That their own people are engaged in. The only real concern of the traitor is something called personal recognition or payment of some kind. When it comes to the warfare, brothers and sisters, of African liberation or salvation, the traitor is what I call a Negro. Go ahead. Now, according to Webster's dictionary, which has become the platform of Eurocentric definitions and word meanings, a Negro, check out what Webster says now, a Negro is a black person. A member of the dominant group of mankind in Africa. According to Webster, a Negro is one who is characterized by dark skin. Well, I got a problem with that definition. Because what I just read fits every last one of us in this room. And I'm not a Negro. And you, some of you, are not Negro. Some of you are Negro. And I'm going to tell you how that happened. If y'all don't mind, I would like to exercise the authority of the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And I'd like to reach into those 7 principles and grab one word pronounced Kujichagulia, which means self-determination. The reason why I want to do this, y'all, is because Kujichagulia says that we must define ourselves. We must name ourselves. We must create for ourselves and speak for ourselves instead of being defined, named, and created for and spoken for by others. So if I can exercise the principle of Kujichagulia, let me define for you what a Negro is. Instead of listening to this white man named Webster. Let us black folk determine what is a Negro. A Negro, now this is Ray Hagen's definition, you don't have to accept it, but it's the best I can come up with. A Negro is a non-person, N-O-N-person. A Negro is a body without a mind. A Negro is an empty shell that has been programmed to destroy its own kind. A Negro is anything that would destroy the fostering of African liberation. A Negro has no idea what or who they are. And because they suffer from low self-esteem and a lack of self-awareness, they will do anything to be recognized and accepted by others, even their own enemy. Well, Where did Negroes come from? All right, sir. How did Negroes come into being? I have to tell y'all the truth. We weren't always like we are. I looked at other people, other nationalities, and I've seen, maybe you've seen it too, I've seen a group, a few people from another ethnic group come into town, and they all pitched in and moved into a big apartment, and through nepotism they saved up their money, and then a few years later they all went and bought their own house. I've seen ethnic groups come into town, and through cooperative economics, in a matter of 15 or 20 years, they own an 8-block radius of homes and stores and markets. And I say, Lord, what's wrong with my folk? We've been here longer than any other ethnic group, and yet we have less than any other ethnic group. Why is that? An African Holy Ghost said to me, because of Negroes. Let me tell you how this happened. Everybody say psychological and social engineering. Now, follow what I'm saying. I'm going to try to paint this picture for you. Everybody comes to this country from their country, and when they come here, they bring with them their own language. They bring with them their own style of dress. They come here with family traditions. They come here from their land with memories of what it was like in the homeland. They come here with a strong culture and a spiritual and personal identity to build upon. Everybody that comes here, every immigrant that comes here with the things I just named. Always remember, brothers and sisters, and hear me good, always, don't ever forget this. The founding fathers, what did I just say? The founding fathers, by the way, who were our slave masters. Now see, children, when y'all read about the founding fathers in school, let the teacher know that, yes, our pastor told us that they were our slave masters. You tell the teacher that, okay? The founding fathers, who were our slave masters, never intended for the Africans that they imported by force to develop their own stable communities based on our African cultural traditions. Please understand that. What America and other European colonies created and sought to maintain was a permanent working class of people who would always be subjugated to them. Did y'all hear what I said? I don't care how much and how loud you holler their Jesus. They still want you subjugated to them, and they still want you working for and serving them, because that's the only acceptable place for you in their mind. Commercial investors, wealthy landowners, and colonial governments combine their forces to suppress any possibility of Africans ever becoming a dominant force in the land.
Why did they do this? Because if we ever became a dominant force in the land, one day we just might bring retribution and judgment on them for how they treated our great grandparents. Listen, brothers and sisters, in order for the slave trade to be profitable back then, and for white supremacy to exist today, repeat this after me. All resistance to the system of racism had to be and must be crushed. Did you digest that yet? Their program cannot prosper unless they crush every bit of resistance against supremacy of the white race. So the only way they could crush resistance is to make Negroes. Follow this now. You see, it was too risky to have a Moor walking around. Too risky to have a Mandinka walking around. Too risky to have a Hausa or a Fulani walking around. It was too risky to have a Senegalese or Sudanese or an Abyssinian walking around knowing who they are. They couldn't have that. They could not risk having an African who was the son of a university professor. They could not, nor can they today, risk having an African who is the daughter of a high African government official walking around knowing who she is. Those who captured our people and sold our people and owned our people were very calculating and methodical in how to survive. Let's make Negroes out of these Africans. Look at the person next to you and say, there is a difference between an African and a Negro. Well, what was the process? The first thing that had to be done in changing the African into a Negro had to remove all signs of personal identification. Y'all with me? When Africans were brought to this country, guess what, y'all? They were stripped of their clothes and something else. Their heads were shaved. Sounds a little familiar if any one of you been in the military. I remember my first night in Marine Corps boot camp. When I stepped off that gray dog, we got about 2 hours of sleep, and the next morning, first thing they did to us was stripped us of our clothing and shaved all our hair off. And anything that we had, rings or anything, that gave us an awareness of what we were before we got here, they took it from us. And then they turned around and told every last one of us, whatever color you were, you're no longer that. The color you are now is green. Am I telling y'all know what I'm talking about? And they walk up to you and say, what color are you, recruit? And like a fool, I stood there and said, green, sir. What are you? Instead of saying an African warrior, I stood there and said a little green amphibious monster. That's their way. The reason that they do this is that's their way of removing all indications of a national affiliation, removing any indication of an individual status. Whatever you were, you no longer was that. And this was their way of removing a person's personal style. Y'all remember Roots? With Kunta Kinte, a little warrior prince, and they would not stop until they broke him and made him say, "My name is Toby Sir." Today, brothers and sisters, this same European program is being promoted in the minds of our children. Let me tell you how it's happening. You know, what they do now in school is they give false impressions of our children and Africans by showing them pictures in their school books of Africans who ain't got no clothes on. Come on, people, we dressed in fine robes. We dressed in royalty and gold and headdresses. And some of you black, beautiful women still do it because y'all put these hats on. Because that's your genetic memory bank talking to y'all, saying, let me put on this awesome hat. Because see, that comes from Africa. But the pictures they show our children in school is giving a false impression of Africans of not having on any clothes and being civilized by white folk who are fully dressed. The pictures and images that they show are little black Africans walking around and running through the bushes with a piece of cloth covering their genitalia and a ring in their nose and a spear in their hand, running around grass huts. While, of course, the white professor is the one who has come to give us an education and civilize us. The next step, and by the way, I'm reminded of an African who, from the Dahomey tribe, who was captured and forced to walk hundreds of miles to the coast. He survived a long journey and the slave ship which was bound for Brazil, where he was sold to a plantation owner. Guess what this African did? He became despondent. He became despondent because he was an awesome brother in his homeland, but now he's nothing. He can't communicate to anybody. He walks around in chains, and he became so despondent that he began drinking alcohol. Now, this is old, but it still happens today. He escaped from the plantation, but was recaptured and, of course, beaten many, many, many times. He became suicidal, and he developed the mentality of becoming unstable. He escaped to New York and was imprisoned there. He became more confused and more depressed and resorted more to alcoholism. And his owners took him to Mississippi. And in Mississippi, he was introduced to a man named Pastor William Wilson of the Baptist Free Mission Society. And Pastor Wilson convinced this African man that his problems stemmed from his heathen African religion. And if he wanted to be set free, he had to forsake his Africanness and take on Jesus Christ and be baptized. And of course, the brother said, all right. He was baptized and he thought he had it made now. And how many of y'all have made that step of coming into the church and you got baptized and you came up and went through the ritual and you thought it was all going to be all right, only to find out a few weeks later ain't nothing changed? I'm still just another N-I-G-G-E-R. Why are we afraid to say the word nigger? In the minds of the system, that's all you are. Ask Jesse, he'll tell you. The next step in making Negroes out of Africans, check this now, was to separate Africans from other Africans who spoke the same language.
Wholesale bleach baptisms, motherfuckers. Come and get your spray. You better close your eyes.
The purpose for this was to prevent Africans from communicating with each other and plotting with each other on what they needed to do to overcome this oppressor. If they couldn't communicate with each other, then they couldn't accomplish much. Yeah, buddy. And the African who had just arrived in America found English or Spanish or French or Dutch or Portuguese being spoken by other African slaves, and immediately he felt like an alien to his own people. That's the program. Woo, buddy, African languages were forbidden, or you get beat real bad if you spoke in your native tongue. And the drum, that was the spiritual heartbeat of our people, were taken away. And they couldn't even communicate with the drums. Our slave masters often mocked the language of the slaves and pointed out because they couldn't understand each other, see how you dumb Africans are. As a result of outlawing teaching, the slave couldn't learn how to read or write. Now mind you, y'all, I don't want you to think for one moment that Africans who were brought here couldn't read or write.
They just couldn't read or write English.
See, the way they teach it to our children in history class, it's like slaves didn't know how to read or write. Slaves didn't know how to read or write English.
English, that's it. Read or write.
Please understand that.
And that's why they couldn't understand each other, because they had a ass of fucking languages. Everybody had their own fucking language.
Let me tell y'all something.
And many of them had a written alphabet.
As slaves were the teachers, the leaders, the spiritual
they couldn't read and write.
people. So
not
they
in
knew how to
English.
read and write.
Just
but
like
they
some
had
people
to
in
break
English can't
them
read and write
first.
in fucking German, or Dutch, or fucking Italian. Like, you just can't do it. I can't
As
read
a
and write
result
in
of
Arabic. I don't
going
speak
through
the
this,
fucking
slave
language.
holders were able to convince many American-born slaves. Everybody say American-born slaves.
American-born slaves.
Well, see, that's the difference, y'all. Once they're American-born slaves, the slave master was able to teach them that Negroes were really dumb. You follow what I'm saying? Because they were born under the slave master's venue. The next step in making a Negro was to instill, and follow this psychology here, was to instill such an overwhelming fear of the white man that the black slave dared not rebel. The fear of whites was so deeply impressed in the minds of the black slave that even black slave mothers programmed their children to be a good and obedient slave. Black slave mothers would tell their children, whatever you do, don't make massa mad at you. Y'all follow this thing here? They were not, mind you, they were only trying to protect their children. That's all they were trying to do. But in the process of that woman trying to protect her child from suffering horrible whippings and even sometimes being put to death, in the process of trying to protect that child, many of them extinguished or killed the warrior spirit, especially in their male children. And guess what, y'all? To this day, many black women still do the same thing. Many of them say, now listen, don't you ever forget, this is the white man's world. And you got to play by his rules, boy. Oh, that's what people are hearing today. The warrior spirit in the children of slaves was broken early as a means of protecting against later punishment. The next step, y'all see these steps here? The next step in making a Negro was the separation of family members. Oh, this thing gets real serious here, y'all. Imagine, if you can, parents, imagine somebody busting into your sleeping quarters and snatching your 3-year-old, your 4-year-old child from you. And you know that when they take them through that door, you're never going to see your child again. Try to imagine what that might be like. See, y'all can't even think on that level. Imagine what it might be like for a man to be with his wife, and the slave master would bust through the door and snatch his wife and rape her, while another slave headman would hold a shotgun to the neck of that man. Can you imagine what that must have been like? Being sold away, or watching family members being sold away, was a devastating experience. And guess what, y'all? The psycho-history, we're still living it as a people. Many slaves became so overcome with grief that they went insane or suicidal. Now follow this program. The slave master knew, once I snatch your child from you. Now I'm going to see if y'all can apply it to today. The slave master knew, once I snatch your child from you, their upbringing will no longer be under your supervision. You got this? Guess what, y'all? It's still going on today. It's just not breaking in your house. Okay? Because of economic pressure and you trying to make ends meet. You're so busy working to pay the bills. Your child still ain't under your supervision. 8 hours of the day, he's under someone else's supervision. We call it school. When your child gets out of school, you're not around, parent. Hello? So what does this child do now? Who is this child getting cultural, spiritual development from? Television. Pokemon videos. PlayStation. Or either they're involved in some kind of government program to monitor your children until you get off work. And of course, guess what happens? By the time that child is 11 years old, there's no attachment between you and your child because another entity was its parent. Nobody to pass on on or pass down the knowledge of African traditions. Y'all tired of hearing this? Okay, I'm trying to help you understand how an African became a Negro. See this process. And it's really deep, y'all, because when the importation of Africans became outlawed, this had a tremendous development on black American culture. For you see, without any new Africans coming over now, follow this now, to reinforce the African culture in the minds of the slaves, what happened? American-born slaves grew more and more alienated from African consciousness. Is this making sense to you? White slave masters were able to create the most repulsive image of Africa, which black slaves had no choice but to accept. The process of separating African children from their parents and teaching them to despise their heritage is something that we need to start looking real close at, y'all. Like I said, it's going on today. The next step, oh, y'all gonna get a little upset on this one now, but the next step in making a Negro was making sex a tool for power and control. Yes. Now y'all, check this out. How many of y'all have heard sisters say, brothers ain't no good? Yes. Now maybe y'all ain't heard them say that, I don't know. Maybe you've heard women say men are dogs. All that kind of stuff. Well, let me tell you what happened in making the African male warrior an Americanized Negro. You see, brothers and sisters, Africans have always held the seriousness of marriage close to them. There was nothing as important as the home when it comes to Africans. But over here, Lord have mercy, African slaves always lived with the reality that their marriage couldn't be held sacred or taken seriously. For you see, at any moment, one could be sold away, or the master, as I said, could come and snatch his wife and show who really holds the power. You see, here's how this works. During slavery, big, strong, black African men and women were matched up. They didn't have no feelings for each other. There was no love involved here. See, that's why the sister came out with the song and said, what's love got to do with this? Love had nothing to do with it. The slave master would take this big, strong black woman and this big, strong black man and make them have sex with each other. Not for anything other than the fact that he knew a big, strong baby would come from their union, and that would bring him some more money.
Oh no, we're listening to Dr. Ray Hagins.
Therefore,
Dr. Ray Hagins.
Family life was unrealistic to the black slave. Even, check this out, y'all, even white men were paid as high as $20, which back then was good money now, were paid as high as $20 for each Negro woman that they got pregnant. Robust white college students were even invited to spend their vacations on the plantations and turned loose among the slave cabins at night in order to secure mulatto children. Slave masters made their female slaves submit to being impregnated by white men and punished those that resisted. Black male slaves felt powerless. I don't know if y'all can tap into this pathology that I'm telling you here. The black male slaves felt powerless when they saw how the white men, merely by the power of their whiteness, could sexually abuse any black woman that they desired, and the black slave male couldn't do anything about it. And guess what, y'all? We're still dealing with that psychohistory today. This created a hostile relationship between the black and white man. And it still exists today. Have you ever heard of a person who's trying to deal with a problem, and instead of going back and dealing with the history of the problem, they're trying to address it now? Look at the person next to you and say, you can't address the now until you address the past. Some of you sitting here right now, you are scarred and wounded now because of something that happened in your past, and some of you got this thing in your head, just turn it over to Jesus. And you've been turning it over for 20 years.
Just turn it over to Jesus.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? Look at the person next to you and say, deal with it. I'm a psychotherapist. I know what I'm talking about. People come in my office trying to act, oh, hallelujah, thank you, Lord, hallelujah. I said, sit down. Sit down. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. I'm coming here with that stuff. Shucks. If that was working, you wouldn't have made the appointment. Shucks. We gotta deal with what happened. The rape of African women served as an important means of mind control. Follow this, brothers and sisters. Forced sexual relations with white slave masters had the effect of destroying the black woman's self-esteem. Made her feel like she wasn't worth nothing. Many female slaves had to learn how to play the game in order to survive and get better treatment from her slave master. And guess what? It still goes on today. Because of her body, she would get better food. Because of what she would do with her body, she would get better clothing. Because of what she'd do with her body, she'd get better living conditions as the master's concubine. And many female slaves concluded that the enslaved black man, as loving as he might be, and as strong as of a man as he might be, they concluded that that black man cannot offer me the protection that I need from this white slave master. So to the black man, the sexual relationship between the white slave master and his black sister seemed to confirm his own weakness. Y'all see this thing? Made him feel inferior. Made him feel like he wasn't worth nothing. So guess how the black man developed self-esteem on the plantation? By becoming a stud. Oh, some of y'all don't want to hear this. But you've got to hear the historicity of how many of our people became Negroes. The only way that the African male could prove his virility and his ability to father children was as a highly prized stud.
All right, about to go get my dinner ready.
Black male slaves.
It's hard when you gotta cook for yourself.
It's
hard out here for a pimp when you're trying to get that money for the rent.
Of going in and impregnating other female slaves. He felt nothing for them.
Wow, do I really feel that tired?
And maybe some meat and some cornbread and some greens.
If you guys want to finish this,
because he used that.
There's only a few minutes left. We're at 48 minutes out of an hour and 4 minutes. This is Dr. Ray Hagen's Where Did Negroes Come From? And even the guy whose book is featured in this painting here, he was the first person I heard say that, you know, that the African in America is a created person. Our personality, our likes, our taste, our dislikes, everything has been created for us, and we have been defined by the dominating group, and we have yet to been self-defining in being able to call ourselves what we want and to shape our own future the way we deem fit, because it's a power struggle. You know what I'm saying? And Ray Hagen says the same thing. We are a created people. We have not been able to shape our own destinies, forge our own futures, even define ourselves as we see fit. We always have to fit into someone else's definition or categorization of who and what we are. So it's a long challenge. Still got a long way to go. A lot of shit to overcome. Where shit really gets better, but understanding the issues and understanding how we got to this point is the basic premise. Yo, what's good, Boozy? All right. Yeah, the one I'm working on now, that joint is almost done, and so I don't want to like get that one done and don't have, you know, enough pieces in the lineup. So I'll definitely have wanted to get this one started before I got too far on the next one. So one more installment to the Reader series. This is going to be Dr. Amos Nelson Wilson's The Falsification of African Consciousness. Very good read. This piece is still coming along pretty good. So added a little bit more sayings on here. Refuse to be intimidated by the process. Black is beautiful. He added, everyone must try, and wealth is in the mind. We We used to call him 5-0. Now we call him 12. 5-0. 12, nigga. 12. And my sister's name. And so I'll continue to add some more stuff to the background and continue to apply the third layer of paint on this canvas. Like I said, I did wanted to get this one started before I got this one finished, so I can have something to work on when it's done. Because I only had 2 canvases, but now I'll have 1, 2, 3 canvases. And I need something else. I need to do another self-portrait. It's not like I have enough paintings of myself already. I took down 3 paintings of myself and hung up 3 different paintings of myself. These are hot ones. The hot boy shit. Bang bang, nigga. Yo, appreciate y'all chilling in the studio with me, watching the progress on these portraits. I'll definitely catch y'all next time. Peace.